Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Welcome on into the Dragon's Den. My name's Digital Dragon. We're getting started here rather late. Some of you may have just gotten a notice from Twitch that I was starting a stream. Then you got in there and you realized there was a minute or less left on the timer. That's because I hit go and forgot to actually start the stream. So, well, welcome on in, Shaudel. I see that you're in the chat, man. Hopefully other people will join us. I got a late start today. I wound up in a meeting that lasted until 6 p.m. talking about a briefing slide deck that I'm not going to be able to brief up. Hey, Shaudel. So yeah, just work stuff. I'm supposed to get on a plane at 8 tomorrow morning, but I've got to be up at 5 to head to the airport. So I may wind up just actually staying up all night. We'll see. But crazy day. I'm about 90% packed for the trip. Mrs. Dragon got into Denver on Tuesday, so all of the stuff for the booth is already there. But I know I've been watching everybody traveling into Denver today, and it's killing me as I'm sitting here working. But yeah, welcome on in. Today's going to be a bit of a relaxing stream because I don't know about you, but I need a relaxing stream after going like mad the last couple of days trying to get everything ready and making sure that Mrs. Dragon got out there all right with everything and talking with Chris and the KB3D folks and a bunch of other people. It's been mad the last couple of days. I forgot how bad it is leading up to travel for shows and stuff. Hope other people join us, Shaudel. How's your day going? Hopefully it's going pretty well. So for those of you that were here on Tuesday, you'll know that we put together a rig, the Iconic Fab rig. In fact, I pull it off the desk here. Let me go ahead and pull it back up real fast. Chat about it just briefly before I set it back out there. Jump over to this view and actually we'll bring up the browser window. Yeah, this was the rig by Iconic Fab. And, it's a nice, good bench style test stand. You've got two legs, two little accent pieces for the arm. You've got your mains voltage coming in on the left side leg. You've got two racks to hang components on. The rear rack is where I currently have my power supplies. These are the Meanwell HDR style. So these are DIN rail styled power supplies. I've got a 5-volt, 60-watt power supply to run my single board computers and other 5-volt things. I've got a 150 24 volt, 150 watt 24 volt here, and I can add like a 48 volt one as well if I want to start doing all types. And I think what I might do is take these and relocate them down to this lower central rail that's down here to enable me to then use this for all kinds of other things. One of the things I'm thinking about doing, and I've already talked with like KB3D about this, is the possibility of designing some type of mount that will allow it to kind of raise up at a 90, but have a ability to mount a like MGN 12 carriage or an 12H carriage or an MGN 9H carriage. So you could do like a a full tool head build, whether it's a stealth burner with tap or whatever, or a boop or anything like that, you would have the different rail sizes here that you could do full up build and testing and things of a CAN bus setup, right, for a CAN bus tool head. So some of the things I'm playing around with. Now, doing this build on Tuesday, believe it or not, Wednesday I got several direct messages from Iconic Fab via Twitter, and the whole way that the den rails mount have been completely redesigned. The shroud to protect your mains inlet has been redesigned, and it'll now have like 3 different cutouts on the top and bottom that you can just break whichever one you want to use for your wiring, so that you can route your wires however you want to or need to. So he took feedback, and within 24 hours had a lot of things already redesigned. He hasn't released them yet. I think he's got them redesigned. He's going to print them out, test them. He may send them to me to print out and test. I don't know. But there's a Rev 1.1 that's going to be coming out soon. So keep an eye on that. He's also going to be looking at providing, I'll say, like a curated set of links for things like den rails and mounts for different boards, or not den rails, but different den rail mounts for different types of boards and like Wago connectors, so on and so on. Snowing there? Okay, Sheldell, are you already in Colorado? Because I've been hearing about it snowing all day. I did talk with Mrs. Dragon earlier. She was out getting snackies. So we're not supposed to bring outside food in, but I think we're going to be good to have like, like candies or whatever on the tables. Oh, you're up in Newfoundland? That's right. You're are you one of the East Coasters? Is that what Pez Liz always calls you, as East Coaster? Um, but yeah, so I'm gonna have snackies and stuff there. And you may be looking at this mat and going, wow, that's really cool, right? And it is. This mat is a mat from 3D Print SOS, aka Feder. He has a YouTube channel called 3D Print SOS. I did go ahead and get this mat, and I also got 2 coffee mugs coming from him, but they haven't come in yet. And I just like this because it has all of the different, style hot ends. You've got like a Voron Revo, looks like a dragon, Goliath maybe, a Volcano V6, the Creality one. And so, I mean, it's just pretty cool, your Rapidos. So I kind of liked it, and I was like, yeah, I gotta go get it. It'll go good because I have one about this size. It's a Mia one. I've got one about this size. It's a Voron one. So I need to display those more often. But today we're going to start building with these parts that we printed here. This is the Slunaz FF1r. This is a filament joining system. It's an automated filament joiner. So what you'll have is you'll have 2 like extruder motor type setups with filament runout sensors that will line up your filament in the correct spot as it goes through a heating element that will heat it up and melt and join the filaments. So that's what we'll be working on. Slunaz, he is out of Italy, I believe. And I want to say it was Pete Savis that just pinged me after I said that this is what we're going to build on stream. And he said he's already built one. So I'm kind of hoping he jumps on here, because if he does, he might be able to help me along. The so I bought this during the Kickstarter. I actually backed it on Kickstarter. Um, they are selling these now. It's direct sale from the gentleman in Italy. I believe he's in Italy. And yeah, his website here, has the assembly and the operation instructions. These are more like, I'll say, animated assemblies, um, not like him actually doing the assembly. So yeah, we'll be going through this. There is a printed manual that we'll be looking through as well. Um, we get the gift here. It says, "Thank you for your purchase. I still need your help. Would you like to receive a free gift if you review our machine with a video, or a post in which you tell your true experience, including positivity and negativity? You'll have a free filament sensor and 10 tubes of PTFE only after sending us a link." So that's cool. So here he's like, "We'll give you a gift if you can post about your experience." Because once again, this is one guy in his like home doing all this stuff, right? So really cool. And I like that he says, include positive and negative. So you guys kind of know me. I'm going to build it and I'm going to tell you, if I have issues or where those issues are and stuff like that. Oh, so this is like a box in a box. Nice. Put that over there. This is an internal packing slip. So the Slunaz FF1r. Pretty nice. Decently little slick way of doing your boxing up. Got a pretty nice printed manual here. Safety instructions, disclaimer, assembly. So yeah, this is the assembly manual that I'd be looking at online. I'll print it out. Everything that you're seeing in that video that's running down there on the bottom left is here. So that's pretty nice. We've got the function section. Hey, Avidus, welcome on in. So it kind of walks you through and talks you about setting up the joiner and working with the system. So that's good. Spot for notes. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's the animated drawings or the rendered drawings, but this is better than a lot of the printers we're getting these days that just have a quick guide that says, quick guide and a QR code to go and look at things online. So that's pretty decent. Very well packaged so far. Very well packaged. Baggies are labeled, so this is your looks like your joining tubes that we're going to be using. We got a D or an E, a D, a C. So these are our screw types and sizes. So that's cool. F. This looks like some little like hole filler type things. We'll get into all this. And then we've got a series of end stops. We'll use as sensors. Nicely bent wrench. A bolt with the bearings thing on them, and they're kind of sticky, so we might want to clean those a little bit, or at least wipe them down. This will be for the winding system. Fans, There's the parts for the extruder mechanisms. The controller board. Get out there. Interesting. So this is a purpose designed, purpose built controller. This is not a standard stock controller. This is purpose built. This is actually a Wi-Fi module. This being the built-in antenna for it. I mean, looking at it, it's everything's nicely soldered. Connections that need to be protected are protected with the dielectric stuff. Got to peel the sticker off the buzzer. We'll have our controller over there. We've got various wires. Cut out. Slunaz model FF1r. So there's your sticker that has for your CE and FCC and all the other compliance stickers and stuff. Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. Like I said, this was a Kickstarter project, and it's a guy in his house, in Europe. Like I said, I'm pretty sure he's in Italy. So this is going to be the heating element, and this is your filament's it's actually gonna heat this coil up, and that's where your filament's gonna go through and be joined together. So that's a pretty chunky piece of copper. These are little PTFE tubes that'll be used to guide the stuff in. Standard basic wrench. Let me see, what else do we have? Display. A box of stuff. 3 stepper motors lined up. These are completely unmarked, not branded stepper motors. So I have like no idea what any of the specs will be on these motors because they're not marked. But once again, this packaging, from what I can tell, I mean, this is some pretty stellar packaging. It's all cardboard. There hasn't been a shred of foam in it, so it's all going to be recyclable. So I'm impressed. I don't know about you guys, but I'm impressed so far with this. We got the basics out. Now it'll be, I did download the instructions, so we'll go through the instructions on screen so you all can follow along with. What do I need to do here? There we go. Well, a multifunctional screwdriver disassembly kit, 5-in-1 plus pliers. Well, all be darned. All be darned. You see this? The toolkit. I guess not just the wrench. You've got number 3 Phillips, a number 3 slotted, looks like a 1.5, a 2, and a 2.5 hex head. Now I'm like literally dumbfounded. And of course, like anything, is good because I needed another set. The ubiquitous set of snips. But yeah, dude, this is, I wasn't expecting this. This is pretty cool. So we'll use those to actually do the build. I have to take those with me on the plane tomorrow. And this looks to be power supply. Yeah, this is the power supply. We'll leave that in there for now. All right, let's go ahead and get going. Yeah, I figured today was probably going to be a light day as far as people on the stream because a lot of people may already be traveling if they're going to Remurf, or just the fact that I started streaming so late. Hey, Da Vinci, welcome on in. So once again, we're going to start working on the Slunaz FF1r. I'm going to do full screen. I do want to do everything. Oh yeah, that's fine. He does. It's the full page. So assembly guide. We have all the various bits, bobs, and parts. We'll have that legend there. I might actually open that up just to have the legend at hand for me as we go through this build. Try and set that right over here somewhere where it doesn't cause a problem. Okay. So it looks like we're going to start off with the base. And I'll have to do some scrolling around here. We're going to try and make this somewhat bigger for all of us. So we're going to grab the base here, which is the very bottom of the parts that I have over here. And we're going to put in 4 of those little stopper thingies that we saw. Was F. So these are going to apparently be our little feet. Hey, Windframe, how's it going? Lucas Player, welcome in. You're headed to Loveland tomorrow. Okay, Wind Farm. Are you flying in? Or are you local in Colorado? Looks like these just plug straight in. Assuming. Like this. It says one base and mounting rubbers. His words, not mine. So these should just push it in, provided that I'm using the right thing. Assuming that I no other mounting thing. Let me just double. There's A, B, C, and D are the. That's the only thing it can be is those. So this mouse pad, Lucas Player, is from our good friend Better. 3D Print SOS. You know, I like to throw up some things. You've seen me with MakerMind Nexus, KB3D, Westery One. I like to promote all of our folks, Zombie Hedgehog even. So we got 3D Print SOS, and that's Better over on YouTube. And I know he's not going to this show. because he bought some upgrade equipment for his streaming setup. So he's not making this show, but he is making 3D Printopia definitely because he like lives right there in the area. Um, Currently I needed to dry this filament. It had been sitting out for a while. It got hairies. But yeah, 3D Print SOS over on YouTube. I can try and find a link directly to his shop, but um, driving in from Oklahoma. Okay. Yeah, Evil Diesel is picking me up tomorrow at like 5:15, 5:30, and we're heading to the airport and our flight's out at like 8:15, I think. And so yeah, we're gonna hit the airport and jump on the plane and head on out there. Okay, so yeah, these should press fit in there. May have to grab our Nipix. Put a little bit of just because I don't want to like try and bang on it. Seriously. I'm going to try and get all of them in, and then I'll adjust, push them, and get them the rest of the way. Maybe that'll be the way to do it. Way to do it. You're driving in from Oklahoma. Cool. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the flight and getting out of here. And you guys may not have heard me complain the first few minutes of the stream where I was like, I was late. And the reason I was late is because I had a meeting at work that had to happen to appease somebody so that I can transition a slide briefing over to somebody who may or may not have to brief it while I'm out. We got an ad break getting ready to start. I think these other four are going to be used on the winding piece that is a separate piece to this. So our four rubbers are in. So good to know our rubbers are installed. The second step to the right is the PCB fan. So one of our fans, I think they're both, yeah, they're both 12 volt. I don't think it matters which one is which. They're the same size. So with the front facing me, that fan's going to go over on this side. You can go in with two of the B screws. It's going to go in like that. So we'll grab our B screws. And I have no idea what type of screws these are other than Phillips head, standard type of self-tapping machine wood screw or something. Which guaranteed to strip. Oh yeah, I'm sitting here like, oh, let me grab my tools. No, let me grab the tools that were provided, because we're going to use the tools that he provided to do our build. Okay. And the top holes. These are all self-tapping style screws, so it make our lives easier. No heat sets or any of that stuff. So we've got that. It looks like we're going to bring our wire down underneath this tab here. We can get the JST to push under. Otherwise, we might have to take the, oh no, not the JST going. It's just the excess slack is getting pushed underneath here just to keep it tabs down. There we go. So we're just looping the excess slack underneath the tabs. So it's just a wire management tab. And we'll need our controller board, and it goes over on the other side here. So we got our fan here, and our controller board's going to mount here. There's 4 standoffs. Let's make sure that that's kind of pushed over out of the way for the moment. And the power for our big blue piece and our power connection goes towards the inside. Our inlet or our USB and DC are going to come over here to this slot. Like so. And we're going to install these with the A's, or smallest size screw. Hey Shenanigans, how's it going? Welcome on in. Now we're going to just be doing a little laid back build. I'm probably not going to be in a position to do any actual filament joining tonight, but I did want to stream for a little bit, kind of decompress some from the day at work. And I will say that so far I am impressed. The packaging of this was beautiful, better than some of the 3D printers that have been coming out lately. The fact that he provides a set of drivers for the build and a set of pliers and stuff, I think is just that's I mean, it's nothing to write home about, but that's pretty decent. You've got a Phillips head, a flathead, and 3 different size hex drivers. I mean, I've got my own, but I figured might as well use his. Came in the kit, so let's use them. Let's evaluate the entire kit experience here. Now, I will say somewhat we'll say geometry wise, these holes aren't lining up 100%. I mean, they're close. They're close. I mean, they're close enough that we'll self-tap them in, right? And we're only doing 3 screws. I kept looking to see why this one wasn't lining up. It's just a pad that it rests on. There is no screw there. So how's it going, shenanigans? I keep seeing you pop up in stream. I just haven't been able to jump on. You've been doing this fire drill stuff this last couple of days, and it'd be making me get gray hair again. Okay, so we turn this the right way. I'm going to pull this out of the way. I think it's going to slip down right here. But what we need is the cable for our fan, and it connects into the red slot over here, which is good because I must have picked the right cable. It had the right fan that had the red slot or the red JST, because the other one has the white one. So the red one goes in the red and the white's going to go in the white down the road. So we'll bring this down and around and get it plugged in, keeping all the wires nice and neat. That. And what else do we got? That was step 4. Let's go over here to step 5. We've got a couple of printed parts. 2 blocks for the winder engines. So we'll find looks like it's this block and this only has got to be this block and this block. So this one does not look like the one that's in the screenshot. You see what part this block for the winder engine and the block for the retainer plug. Yeah, so this is the right part. So it looks like on this part there would be 2 screw holes on the one side of the slot, and that is not the case. There's only going to be one. So, hey Timor, welcome in, and thank you for subscribing for 12 months. Holy cow, my first 1 year person. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we need one of the cables over here. Let's go ahead and undo this batch of cables. Like I said, I've been pleasantly surprised and impressed with the way that everything was packaged. It was all in cardboard. So every bit of the packaging, of course, other than the bags, is recyclable and will be recycled. So the whole point of this is being able to not throw away your little ends or to join. Like I could take all the samples that I get from Alien 3D and combine them into one big large roll. So this is going to be a motor with one style connection on one side and a JST style on the other. So this would be that short little motor one that we're going to be using here. And the slot feeds over this. Might be fairly tight. slot will feed over, and then this piece is going to come in from the front. And what we need to look at is kind of the profile, and looking at the picture, it appears that the slant edge on the profile is the side that our JST is going to go into. Now, the question I can't tell from this is whether the JST connector is facing up or down. So let's take a look over at step 9, which is the other page and up, and see if we get some type of idea. Not really, but my assumption is facing up. That's how I'm going to do it. So this should press fit in. Might be a little tight. Partly because I think I've got a little bit of elephant's foot on these parts. So just clean up the inside edge of that hole some. Looks like it should be flat, but that's going to be a hard, long press fit. So because it looks like you want that connector to be right flush with the edge of it. So I think I'm going to try and push this back out without damaging the connector and pull it in from the, from the front to the back side there. So grab the flat edge so we can push on the side of the connector. See how many times I can jab myself and pull and draw blood today. So shenanigans, what have you been up to as of late? Yeah, I know this is supposed to be a press fit, but it's just a little bit tight for my liking. So I'm just going to do a tad bit of filing, very, very light file. And it could be because I'm using a, so this is a Galaxy dark gray polymaker. So whatever they use for the sparkle in here may actually be causing an ever slight rise. It just causes things to catch. I'm just filing things very gently. Just happened to do it over here over my filament bucket. I don't want to do too much. I really do want it to have that press fit. I just want to do it ever so slightly so that it's an easier press fit. Either way, it's definitely going to stay in there. You just print out your ticket for Rocky Mountain? Nice. Yeah, I got the notification. It's like, oh, check in for your flight. Oh, check in for your hotel. Get your digital key. Blah 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 blah. So, thank you for the alert, Timor. Okay, so I've got that press fit. I'm gonna make sure that it's nice and a flat edge to the front there. Make getting the connector in there very nice and satisfying. There's a flat side and a countersunk side. We want the flat side to be the side that we put through our cable through, because that's going to line up and our screw heads will sit down in this hole then. That'll go on like that. It's going to slip down into this slot right here, like so. And then we'll screw the that lockdown plate with a couple of screws. Color position of the engine cables, so we'll make sure and color code those appropriate. We're going to use our A screws when we do these. Yeah, I've got Eventbrite on my phone, and I've got my ticket, so to speak, saved in my Apple Wallet. And like like I said, I got to check in for my flight tonight. I'm flying United, and yeah, I'll check in for the flight. I'll check into the hotel room and hopefully figure out what room I'm going to be in ahead of time. You there? I said it was killing me seeing everybody posting on Twitter about, flying in and being there already, and folks that are driving in and still here. I'm at work. I don't want to have anything to do with work today. I wanted to get on a plane myself. But Mrs. Dragon's there with all of our equipment for the table, and we're going to fly in tomorrow. We'll get into Denver about 10:30. She'll pick us up, and we will roll on up to the airport or to Loveland, and we hit Kay Breezy up, and we're going to help him get his table set up. So this is going to go to the engine over here, the stepper right next to this big blue block. So, and the black wire is towards the top. So we're just going to push this over, this up, drop it down on there. So I believe these wires can get tucked out of the way down there. Next up, we're going to need the display connector, which is, it's got the EMI on one side, and it's got the two plugs on one side, one on the other. Two plugs get connected into our board. They're going to be self-explanatory as far as which direction they go. That one in and this one in. Okay. And it says to hold this up and twist it 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, look at it this way, coming around yonder. Don't do anything with it yet. We just kind of set it there. It's going to come through this spot. So hopefully I can set it like that and it won't untwist on me. We'll need the on-off cable. Do this one. So we've got our on-off switch, our inline fuse holder. Safety first. Okay. And we're going to feed this whole thing in through our round hole back here. Here's step 17, 18. And we put this in. And once again, up, down. I like to do things with down being off. Up is on, down is off. That's always the way I try and do these. So down is off, up is on. Well, that's what I would like to do, except there is a key on this piece, right there where my finger is, and there's a key in the hole there. So it's going to have to go where down is on and up is off. Not the way I like it, but I don't get to always choose. And this is a press fit in. So there we go. We now have our switch installed. 18 is we're going to take our 2-pin here and plug it into this. Yeah. So here's our 2 wires for our display MOSFET. So it should go right in here. So we'll pop that one out. We got an extra connector. And this one is going to pop in. Okay. Follow the picture in. I got you. Follow the picture number 10. It's making sure that we put the next 2 wires for the other 2 motors into the correct place. So what I'm going to do is just look at this and do some basic cable management real fast. And see if I just can't get some of this stuff tucked out of the way. Because this is going to be the heating, part of the heating element, I believe, or thermistor, heating element. So we've got that out of the way for the most part. We'll need our other 2 motor wires. Now, I've got a single and I've got a 2 to 2 here. So I think these are just, they can be separated amounts. So we're putting 2 motor wires in. I'm going to separate these 2 and hold this one over. I think this one's going to be used for the winder motor. So we'll just take this and separate the 2 4 pins. And we're going to plug them in once again with the black wire in the same orientation. So the black wire would be towards the side with your little potentiometer on your stepper motor or your stepper driver. Okay, we've got all of our main wiring done. Two other things that are plugging in. What would those 2 other things be? These are going to be 3 wires going into these other 2 connectors down here, and those are going to be our end stops. So I don't think it's going to really matter which cable goes where because they're not labeled or defined yet for us. But we do want to pay attention to the wires. And it looks like our white wire goes towards the stepper motor side. So we'll pop that one in there. Make sure that the wire of our other stepper motor does, or the other end stop does the same thing. So shenanigans, are you going to Rocky Mountain or are you having to stay home? So we've got our 2 end stop wires. We've got our 2 motor wires. These are basically going to be filament sensors, and these are the extruder motor wires here. Got everything plugged in. Love it. It's like, oh, route it so pretty and come up this way. Yeah, gotcha. We're going to take the engine base engine, whatever you want to call it, which will be this piece. This is where we just need to make sure that we pull certain things up through certain ways. So we're going to have, looks like the leftmost, so um, this side end stop and this side motor will join together, and going to come up through the left side here. The right side end stop and motor wire is going to come up through the right side. Also going to need the main power cord coming straight up the middle. And looks like this green comes up through the middle. And the heater element also comes around and comes up next to the screen. Make sure our wires are pulled up. That one there. There's little like routing cutouts in here. I'm just going to put these through them for right now. I probably don't have them all on the right ones, but I just want to get them out of the way for the moment. Make sure that things will sit down. Does sit flush there. Once again, this is the motor and the end stop, motor and motor end stop, motor end stop. That 4-pin power distribution block, that heater element, and our screen. Now we're going to use B and put them in 4 locations. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That will hold this down. Again, I'm just trying to keep this out of the way and nice and neat as possible. Fuse holder just doesn't want to play nicely. I think that should be good there. Good enough. Put some screws in. Again, there's 3 that go across the front. These are the size B screws. Making sure we're not pinching any wires. So 1, 2, 3 across the front, 1 kind of in the back by this motor. I'm going to just try and switch over to the bigger screwdriver, maybe. This one's too big and the other one's going to be too small. It's more of a grip thing on the screwdriver. If it had a bulkier handle, it would help to try and get the torque for the last little bit on these. That, and I think they're fairly long. I mean, these are going way down in there. These are pretty long screws. And I don't know if that's about how long or how deep down that screw is going to go. And I get the sneaky feeling that I'm getting down in there and I'm starting to go into straight plastic, as in there's no more hole. I've gone past the bottom of the hole. which is worrisome because I don't want to strip one of these. So bear with me momentarily. Really, really don't want to strip these because I have no idea what sizes these are other than A, B, C, and D. And also note, I printed all of this out of ABS, and I believe it's just the parts around the, only the parts around the heating element are required to be in a temperature tolerant. So this could be that I'm using ABS instead of PLA parts. But what I'm going to do is just take a 1.5, because a 2 looks like it might just be too thick. I'm going to take a 1.5 millimeter drill bit and just chase these holes a little bit more so I don't stand a chance of stripping the heads of these screws, and then I'm just kind of stuck at that point. I'm going to drill it over my box here just so anything that pops out goes in. Well, maybe I will use a 2 because the 1.5 does nothing. But I don't want to go higher than a 2 because if I do, then I'll get into removing so much material that the threads of the screw itself won't have anything to really dig into. We won't have any meat left for it. I'm just going to do these one at a time. And if I have any of these screws extra, I may reprint a couple of these pieces just in PLA to see if they drive easier in PLA than they do in ABS. That one's good. And I don't know yet if he gave us extras in case we strip them, so I'm going to try not to strip any of these. So these holes are recessed. So I'm assuming that these need to be fully down into those recesses. And even drilling that last one out, it still feels pretty tight. Go slow, take your time with the drill, cognizant of what's underneath what you're trying to drill. Like I said, my issue here is just the thickness of the driver makes it a little bit hard to get a good grip on it. And I feel like I'm starting to grip the head of the screw even after drilling that out some to give it um, more ability to get through the material. That and these could probably have been done with the A's. Simple enough. I mean, it's not, I don't think we really have a need to go this deep into the part. I mean, we went like that. That out and at the ready. I'm going to put a pretty decent amount of downward pressure to keep from stripping out the screws. And this is where using, like if I knew what size and I could use like some socket head screws, that might actually be better as well. A little bit deeper in with the drill. Everybody's pretty quiet tonight. Anybody lurking and trying to pack then? One's down, that one's down, that one's down. It's just a little bit still proud, so we're going to try and take this one back out. Drill down just a tiny bit more. We can get this one fully seated, hopefully. Yep, I think we're going to have to leave that one the way it is. It's going to have to be in there that much. Okay, so next up, we've got the mammoth position. Once again, this is our like 4 screw down terminal, and it's going to slide right down in this slot. We're going to kind of move our wires around. Get this lined up in that slot. Looks like it gets pushed down a decent amount. So we'll like that. That push down. Now what's next? We've pulled in this direction. We've got our motor and in-stop wires, and they actually tell us to pull them through this little cutout here. And then the next one's telling us to basically do the same thing with the two that are going towards the front. I have a feeling that we're going to shove a lot of this excess cable back down in there, but for now we've got them out of the way. No, actually, motor towards the front and the end stop here goes towards the middle. This is both out one direction, and this is the end stop out the middle slit, and our motor out the front slit. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay, so now it's grabbing two of our motors, and I've got the backside towards me with the switch and the plug that we installed. So this motor is just going to kind of sit down there and just rest on the top with the plug facing out. The other motor sits on its stand with the motor, I think it's going to face forward. Yeah, facing forward. So they're just sitting in that little ledge. Two, 33. Okay, so engine one, we're going to plug in its cable, which means all that excess cable is going to get shoved down in here. Adequately shoved down so that it can probably get into the fan shroud, because six pin in. Just bring that right down and around. Engine two, same thing. We need to stuff our cable back down in here. And make it so that our wire is just barely exposed there. So like that, like that. That's engine one. engine 2. The engine cover, which has all of our cutouts on it. So we're going to be holding it like this. And we'll have our ductor. And that goes into these two holes between the two slots. Oh, it just drops down in there like that. I have a feeling that these are going to be directly screwed into these two terminal connectors here. We're going to have another piece, which will be this piece. It's going to come down, and what's this going to do is hold this in place. The little feet will go down into each slot on the side, and then we'll add a screw straight down through the top and into this printed part. That should be a B, really? I guess it's pretty deep, but really? And I get a feeling like B is overkill for that. Yeah, I really get B as being overkill for that, but open this up just a little bit. Hey, Chris, how's it going? You just landed in Denver? Awesome. Awesome. Well, welcome in. Uh, and you're driving up to Loveland tonight, right? You have to drill that a little bit more. We're using like standard like wood or sheet metal screws, and they're just not the best for this application, but I get it. I see where he's coming from in the use of them. Just so we're building the Slunaz FF1r. This is a filament joining system. It's made by a gentleman I'm pretty sure, like 100% sure, well, 99% sure he's in Italy. Um, and he sources these and sends everything out in one big kit. And so far, it's been really nice. I mean, he provides even a set of drivers and set of drivers and wrenches and everything for doing the build. So can't really complain. Well, yeah, I'm not complaining. So yeah, Aussie. But the thing here is, it also has a filament winder to it, and it's an automated setup. So you pick what the temperature is, you load through your little, you know, pieces of samples or whatever, and then you can just join it and wind it all in one batch. So you got to look that it's, yeah, it's cheaper, it's easier. There's other ways of doing it, but I don't know about the reliability and stuff yet, right? We're just putting it all together. Um, so yeah, where are we at now? Just installed that. This is just showing it from the other side, so you'll see that you've got your legs still popping up out of the piece there, right? And we're going to take two of the A screws, so two of our smaller screws, and we're going to use these to also secure in these legs. So we're going to come right through these two screw holes here and secure these legs, right? So yeah, so this was a Kickstarter. Um, and like I said, I'm impressed with the packaging so far. I really like the idea. I'm going to be able to take like some of my small sample rolls or some of my other filament that I'm kind of low on and use this to create larger spools. Of course, I will have like the uh, the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder. I'll have the trad rack and stuff like that that we can do like an endless spool type thing on. But yeah, it's just multiple ways of dealing with the same thing. Tractor is put away in your back. Well, awesome, Timor. The KB3D Chris just landed in Denver. So there's another cooling fan that's going to go in here. So we'll grab our other cooling fan. This will be the one with the white connector. This gets mounted in the slot underneath here. And it gets a single B screw that goes up in. So I'm sitting here trying to think which way this should go. Because air would get pulled through this side and pushed out this side. So is this pulling air in or pushing? Pulls the air in. And it's going to take whatever heat's coming off this and sucking it down into the electronics. That really doesn't make sense. So we probably want it set to where it's pushing the air out over the inductive coil. Only thing it really makes so it's got little tabs in here in 3 of the 4 spots. And I do it the way that I was thinking it needed to be done. Doesn't really line up on those tabs, and if I flip it over the other way, it slots right onto those tabs. So I guess we're going to go with label on the inside, so it's going to be pulling that air through here down into the box. Okay. And it'll take 1 screw from this side, and I can definitely tell that I'm going to have to drill that out, definitely. That, this takes a B here. Hey, Pete, how's it going? Sarah said to tell you she built an A1 Mini. Isn't that like 3 screws? Hey, Creatix Brit, welcome in. Welcome on in. We are in the process of building a Slunaz FF1r, which is a filament joiner system. Screw goes all the way in. Then whoops, this goes onto our engine cover. Love the link. So our vent holes are on this back side here. And down in and plug it in before we do anything else. Okay. And our fan connection in. There's only 1 connector left in here that we haven't put something in, so pretty sure that's where we're going to want to put our fan connector. That's in. Yep, fan connector. And looks like this is going to slip on, and it's going to cover up the motors because we need to figure out what we're doing with our end stop wires here. And computer up one end. Okay, and there you have it. So the right motor here comes up this, the end stop comes up the slot kind of right in the middle. The left motor, the end stop cable comes up the slot all the way on the end. The heater element comes up the square hole to the side of our inductive coil. Make sure that we're not crunching any wires. This fan wire from sitting on top of a motor. You can do it. Oh, yeah, that would be why. Screw hard. Yeah, we need to screw these in, and I think the problem as to why it's not sitting down is because I need to unscrew those so that the wires from the inductive coil can actually drop down in there. Trying to get things lined up and keep the wires from moving things around. There we go. Still doesn't feel like it's fully seated. Do that, screw that down. The thing is I'm getting a gap there between the two parts, and I don't think that gap is supposed to be there. I'm trying to figure out because, I mean, it is sitting right down on the top of the motors. Why the motor didn't shift? What is going on with height? These all were the same size. I don't know, maybe it's not supposed to be down there. Kind of looks like it, but I don't think it is because it's sitting right on top of those motors. So we're going to go with it the way it is. We're going to make sure that this is pushed down in there as well as possible and crank down hard on these flathead screws that are going on the wires for the coil. So make sure that these are nice, good, and tight. Okay. So how's everybody doing? Hobby Main and Creatix Brit and Pete, Mr. Wizix, welcome on in. Just saw you sneak in there. Once again, everybody, I apologize for getting started late. I had a work meeting that went from 5 a little bit after 6, so I had to get everything set up here. So we've got our 2 end stop wires pulled through. We've got the heating element wire pulled through. We've got our screen wire still pulled through. It looks like there's meant to be a gap there because our wires, you can see right there, are into that 4-screw terminal connector, and it's in there. It's not coming out. And these are sitting right on top of the motors. So everything appears to be sitting where it's supposed to sit, I guess. Okay. Next up, we need these. These are going to be super long. There's only 4 of them, and they're going to go on the 4 corners here. You should hold everything down on the 4 corners. And once again, this was the side that was face down when I did the print. So these are suffering from a little bit of elephant's foot on some of them. Bad elephant's foot on that. Deburr the holes here. Taking off just a tiny bit of plastic so the heads of the screws will drop down in there. Oh, not a problem, Mr. Wizix. And quite honestly, the issue I'm having here with this not sitting down fully could literally just be the fact that these may be a little bit taller pancake motors than what were originally spec'd. Okay, so those are screwed down there. And once again, we've got input, output side. Once again, I feel like this gap should not be here, but it is there. These motors are fully seated. Don't know what's going on there as to why I am getting that gap. I guess no, they're not. Oh, there we go. I think I've got it figured out now. The issue may be that there's cups printed up on the underside of this cover, and that could be what the issue is the motors are not actually sitting in the cups right on the printed top. That might be where the extra bit of tight's coming from. Back these off a bit so I have a little bit of room to. Hmm. Yes, this was a Kickstarter, and he did specifically say he is looking for feedback, both good and bad. So we will be providing feedback. Um, and once again, I printed all of my parts out of ABS, and you're really only required to print the parts in ABS that are um, in direct contact or right near the heating elements. So this could also be an issue with my parts as I printed them. But there is definitely, like this side is pretty close to sitting flush on top of the motor. This side is not, and there is a bit of a gap. Or I get, you know what? It could also be the legs on my coil. Now, hold on, let's see something. Let's see something. Because there's one other thing that it could be. it could be bottoming out on this 4-pin connector. And if I push that 4-pin connector down a little bit more, because it has plenty of room to be moved down some, that might actually allow it to sit down some as well. But yeah, it was a Kickstarter. Um, like, why is the top not coming? Well, because the part that you were just talking about is actually legs. So unscrew the legs. Part should come off. Let me take a look at something. That does fit in there pretty nice. I'm wondering if I just push this down some more, make sure it's fully down, if that'll give me the last little bit that I need to get this through. There we go. Just need to apply the appropriate wiggle factor. But yeah, but this is a Kickstarter. Um, the Slunaz FF1r is a filament joiner system. Just making sure that things are sitting down nicely and see if I can get this into its slot since it fell out while I was adjusting things. And if I can't, then I'm going to cry because I'm going to have to redo it. Where are you? Where'd you go? There you go. Got our two pin stops. We got our heater. We got our things still out the front. Our fan wire is connected in and out of the way. Not getting in the way and holding things up. I have a feeling these screws can go down a little bit more. What I'll do off stream, probably take these off, drill the. We'll do it now. But if I don't, then I'm going to just gonna irk me. I'm going to pre-drill this down a little bit because I can't get it all the way down because it's just getting too tight. Once again, some of this may literally be the prints that I did. So don't take some of these fitment issues as the files being bad, because this is made to be printed out of PLA and I printed it in ABS. And I can feel that I've got a nice edge on here, so I've got some pretty bad elephant's foot. We got an ad break in progress. These are fully knocked, fully loosened, so I'm not catching the wires back here anywhere. Fully pushed down as far as it'll go down. So I'm going to just hit these with the drill real fast, just to open them up slightly. And this is just a 2mm drill bit. That's working out nicer now. And yes, so this work mat is a work mat from 3D Print SOS. Some of his merch. You know, like I said, we like to support all the makers, so we do. Um, and in this case, this is his work mat. That is, I can't remember what the size is. I'll have to try and measure it here real fast. But it works out really well. It's got all kinds of hot ends on it. So it's got the Boron Revo, the Rapido, the Goliath, or what looks like the Goliath, um, a V6 Volcano, Reality hot end. Still getting a little bit of gap over here. And honestly, folks, the only thing I can think of is that this coil piece, the legs on the coil, might just be too long because this side's coming down nicely. This side's not. And that's telling me that it's most likely an issue with those legs because I can't even squeeze it. Yeah, I think that's an issue with the legs on the coil here itself that might be too long. Next up, we're going to work with one of the extruders. They should be the same. Package out, and we're working on extruder 1 for motor 1. Our flat edge goes towards the inside. It wants us to install an extruder cone. Extruder cone. Repeat. You know what the heck I'm looking for here? We kind of look forward and see what we're kind of see if it gets a little more understandable as I see how they put together. It'd have to be something in here. So I think what it is it's the chrome like heat break piece with a nut around it is what we're looking at here. You hear me asking Pete, because Pete said he has put one of these together already. So he has also got one of these. Okay, there's B screws. I'm just trying to keep things somewhat clean so I know what's where. I'm going to go with the chrome heat break, and a nut is what that actually looks like. That's going to get screwed into this piece. That's basically what I did. Heat break and a nut. And it looks like it's kind of flush right up there from the looks of it. So don't need to make it much more than that. The back here, rear cone, and it's standard extruder stuff. Get one screw through this side. The small, tiny one that goes into the countersunk slot over here. Screwdriver. Okay. Other side. Need our arm, bearing with the round button head screw on top of the bearing that goes down into the arm. Don't squish it so much that it turn. Sleeve. Long screw on this side. Down, black screw goes through here. Half. getting like all of a thread of engagement. Okay. Then spring with the nut. Before I do anything else, I better put this on or I'm not going to get it on. I just realized all of these are round. There's no D shafts on. We have set screws, so of course we'll pull the set screws and we'll put a little bit of Loctite on them. Okay. Loctite set, gear set. We need to add our spring. You take the big bolt, put in the spring, line your spring up, snap it in place. The liar on me, snap in place. There we go. And then this bolt basically drives into the head of that bolt, and that's how you tighten things up. Get the tension set on your filament. So that's one side done. Now we need a filament sensor housing. We need the one that's number 1. Take our sensor, and it kind of has the nice cutout. It's one way. And looks like there is a backing plate, which also there's only one way that it fits. Hey, Westry. So you got your backing plate with a little piece that mimics um, the extruder latch. It's right in there like that. Didn't see it say to put any screw end to actually hold these parts in, or the English. So we are not putting any screws right in here right now to hold this in place. We're just putting this cover in place. We're going to put a screw right there to hold the cover on, because those are like all the way through holes. That's how we're going to mount it to the machine here itself. And we're going to use an A screw, which is one of our little small ones. How you doing, sis? I heard that you were like building a printer or assembling a printer. And I heard that you may have assembled said printer all by your very lonesome. Hey, Christoph, welcome in. You Frizzle, welcome in. All right, so that's in there now. That's the operation of the switch. Shove a piece of filament into said switch and see if it works. Oh, well, a piece of filament. Well, I don't know if you can hear it, but it is clicking. So it's working. So we hear the click in both directions. So that's good. Now we're going to install it with the C screws. One on one. So it's got two little locator pins here that will line up with the printed part. Then we're going to screw down into the top. Now I'm going to hit this very lightly with our 2mm drive or drill. Just to make sure I don't have any issues trying to get those screws in. Once again, that's going to line up, drop down in there, and we're going to use the C screws. So what? Hold on. No Benchy, but why? Because I hold a no print Benchy club membership. Oh, so you're a bag stabber and a no Benchy person. I see how you are. Yeah, post proof in Discord that you actually made a print. I think that's Christoph's way of saying we can't trust you, sis. Hey, Darth Gollum, welcome on in. If you all wouldn't mind, in the bottom left of your screen, you will see my icon. You will click on that icon. That will bring you fully into my stream from Westery Stream. One of those little things where I get metrics and it counts for me. Kind of impotent sometimes, I guess. Feed the algorithm. Okay, now we're going to take our wire. We're going to kind of shove it back down in there because we just need the little bit to stick out and plug into our end stop. Just like that. Push the rest of this wire down in there. And there's going to be a little printed part like that. And that's just going to slide down in there, or should slide down in there. Just cover up that hole, just like that. Okay. Very nice. Now, for giggles, I'm going to take my filament and run it through my sensor again. And oh, look, it comes through my extruder. And because it's got a natural bend to it, it immediately drives into the extruder gear. We'll follow dragon. Exactly. Straighten out a little bit. We're going to bring our filament through here. Should go through the extruder, hit the extruder gear. And like I said, it's actually hitting, there we go. And it goes right in and it's working its way right on through. So that's good. That is good. Path is good. Now it wants me to do the other filament sensor. So this is the one marked 2. So guess what? This is probably going to, I don't know, go over here near the 2. Once again, the end stop drops in. It goes in only one way. So what do you do with a filament joiner? I'm going to go out on a limb and say you join filament. So once again, we got another one of the covers. And it's just going to sit right over on the top and drop in. We're going to use the A for our small button, or our small screw to close this up. So yeah, this will be used to join filament, whether it's like small pieces that are left over that, you know, if you're like me, you've got printers and some of your printers have very, very long Bowden tubes. So you may trip the filament sensor, but actually still have like 400 or 500 millimeters of filament from where it tripped the filament sensor. So you can pull that out, and rather than throw a chunk like that away, you can take multiples and join them together and make a larger one that you can then print something. You can take your filament sample rolls like you get from our good friend Alien 3D. You can take things like these and join them together because there is a spooler on the that gets it built and attached to this as well. And you can make one big spool and make your own kind of color changing filament doing things like that. So yeah, there's all kinds of things that you can do. You can also, if you've got a recreator or other pultrusion system, there's only so much filament that you'll be able to get out of a 1 or 2 liter bottle. So you go and do your pultrusion, and then you can take those spools, those little mini sample type spools, and run them through here and join them into one big, larger, useful roll that you can then do. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so we started putting our other sensor together. Now this one has a, call it a nubbins area there. And this gets, where was it? A nozzle. And this is a nozzle that has been carefully drilled out and counterbored to a bit larger size. Right? So this gets screwed in here. Might be a little interesting and tight because of, once again, overhangs and filament. So I want to, use my reamer on that. So that is either a 4 or 5 millimeter thread pit. Just going to use this 5 millimeter reamer real fast to clean up. Basically what I'm doing is I'm going to clean up the overhangs from printing the hole. So get rid of the flats in it so that we can then thread that on there. So since we got some new people in here, who all that just joined is going to Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival? Because I know I am. Evil Diesel is going to be picking me up at like 5:15 in the morning. So that we can head to the airport. Of course, this is definitely not the right size wrench for it. So one of these. Hey, look at that. There's a wrench for that. So far, every tool that I have needed to build this, other than the drill, because once again, I printed these parts in ABS. There's only a couple of parts that really need to be printed in ABS. What's going on here? So a lot of the troubles I'm having with some tolerance may just be because I printed these in ABS. So we've got our number 2, our connector. There's our little fitting. I am going to make sure that I hear a clicky clicky when I push this through. I am hearing clicky clicky, and there's your filament coming out. So I do hear the clicky clicky, so the clicky clicky is working. And if you see how this is going to mount right here in the middle. And this piece right here is going to be going right into the inductor tube. So it's going. All right, I'm going to turn this in some. And so once again, there's a tabbed piece right there. It goes into the top. So the one end goes into the tube. The other end's going to line up with the other piece. And it's going to find that tab and lock into the tab, or at least it should lock into tab. Feels like it is still not in tab. This whole thing looks like it might be cockeyed a bit. So I'm going to work on creating this up some maybe. Why is tab not lining up? Like, I'm not sure if I'm not getting it to go over far enough or what, why the tab's not. That's about where the tab. So it's pretty much got to be all the way pushed over. Get down in that tab. Hmm. So I think that it's just the spacing issue, and I'll say a height issue. So to get it in here and then down, I'm feeling, I got a feeling. If it is clicky click click, would it be broke? No, I mean it's an end stop, so it's supposed to be clicky clicky. So it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And what I'm going to do right now from a order of operations thing is see if I can't get this further this way, which will give me the ability, hopefully, to get this flatter and get it dropped down into. No, it's not. Oh, so it's in the slot, but the door itself is falling down. What is going on there? Okay, I think that is doable there. That's there, that's lined up, it's in the tab, and I can now screw down through there. Okay. Whew, that was painful yet again. Once again, I'm just going to hit these very quick and light with my 2mm drill bit. Yeah, we're running into, I'll say, little fitment issues, but once again, it could be because I did all of this in an ABS and it's not necessarily, it didn't all have to be. So, and I can tell that I've got a hefty amount of elephant's foot on these parts. So I was probably too close to the printed part or the print bed to start with. So that could be a couple of things that are just leading to the issues that I am having. But this is now down there. You're killing me. Oh, the 7880, I just put this, set it down on the top there. So we're down in that slot. Okay. I rolled this out and I'll roll this back or turn this back in so that everything's lining up. We've got a pretty good, well-constrained filament path. See if Yes, that's part of the problem is just trying to get the right length on this piece so I can get the tab to drop down in there. There we go. One moment, folks. Okay, sorry about that, folks. That was Mrs. Dragon giving me a call, so I had to take that call. Okay, you did yours in PLA and you had fitment issues. Okay, so good to know that it's tight tolerance, which could also be fitment issues. Yes. Okay, so where are we at? We got this flopped down in there. Back to this side. And once again, two letter C screws to lock that in. You had a French ad. It'd be nice if you spoke French. Oh, interesting. I've never had the foreign language ones before. So, Pete, you're not going to Remurf, right? Or are you? Like I said, the only thing that sucks about this is just I need something that's bigger for meat palms. All right, you're leaving tomorrow? All right, then I will see you there. That one can go down more, but I'm going to give my hand a rest here. We need to put our spring back in on this. Well, if you're going to be there, we leave. Like I said, our flight is at like 8 o'clock. We have to leave here at 5:30 to drive to the airport to be able to get, through security and blah, blah, blah. Hopefully through security and get some coffee because that's just going to be a heinous. We need to plug in our connector, and we need to kind of be careful where our wires are going because there is a fan right here. I'm going to try and force some of that excess wire down over into this side because there's nothing really over here except for this fan, but it's a ways away. Get that plugged in. Get that cable going like right down in there. Nice and clean. Once again, this mat is from 3D Print SOS. He's one of the YouTubers. He's known as Fedor Sassen. And yeah, good all around guy. And I like this. This is what I was talking about, by the way, Pete, of using the different like hot ends and stuff like that on a mug. I think that would be pretty cool. Okay. We got that plugged in. Now we need the thermistor wire cover. So that would be this routed wire cover. Going to cover this thermistor. And it looks like it's gonna be a bit of a pain to get in there. Because we're dealing with the two wires side by side here. What I'm trying to do is get that resistor aligned so they're kind of, the two wires are on top of each other around the elbow. And get it into the elbow, down, and then there's a called a guide slot. Then we're going to put two, I'm assuming, A position thermistor right in front of our coil here. Grab a couple more of our A screws. Use gravity to our advantage. Your flight's at 9 a.m. Okay. And where are you heading out of? I'm heading out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and we've got a straight flight with United. So providing, a door doesn't or a panel doesn't fall off or anything like that, we're supposed to be on the ground at 10:15, 10:30. Salt Lake City nonstop. Okay, so we'll be getting into Denver right about the same time. So that'll be cool. So There's our thermistor. And I just press fit in there. Um, Now we need to put our gear on this motor and we'll start building up this extruder on this end. So Mrs. Dragon is picking us up. What's going to happen is her and her mom and brother are going to drive up. She's going to leave her mom and brother somewhere near the airport. She'll come in and pick up me and Evil Diesel and then go back and meet her mom and brother and drive up to Loveland because her mom and brother and everybody's coming up and staying at the Embassy Suites as well. So we're just going to have a big family thing. And they're going to come up and, hang out and support us at the table and everything, as well as support Mrs. Dragon, who should be running battle bots, provided we clear technical. If they won't clear ours, then hopefully they have others that she can play with and run. We may actually have her run the Death Racer too. Okay. Yeah, well, I could ask and see um after the stream. But either way, I think we need to have the two vehicles up there because I think they're coming back Sunday and me and Diesel are staying up there until Monday and then driving back down. But we shall see. We'll put this down here. Hopefully we'll find about the right height. Should be the same as before. We'll lock it in. We need to adjust, we'll adjust. I mean, the nice thing with these types of gears is, it's not like you're trying to get into a rounded groove. It's straight grooving. So, and yeah, I appreciate it. I'd definitely look for you at the thing. Oh, there's Mrs. Dragon. Eagle will not leave you alone. Oh, if I drive with somebody else, that's true. That is true. Um, so on this one, we need our short screw. It's basically going to be the end stop for the spring. That is true, Mrs. Dragon. Thank you for chiming in. I didn't think she was going to get on, but apparently she was on. Well, once she realized I was streaming, she joined in. Um, Now we need the M6 brass. So this is going to be the other one. So this is going to be the brass one. We'll feed that heat break through. And so interestingly, it didn't mention it, but this would be the hot end side of the heat break. You'll see this has a counter bore. This would be where the PTFE tube will go in. And note in our next spot that we're gonna have PTFE tube that comes in here. So you want the piece that the PTFE tube will go into. You use the nut as the stopper to tighten it up and hold it in place. And it shows the PTFE tube. Now, we have a little package of PTFE tubes. These are consumable. So and not only are these pre-cut, but one side is chamfered. So your inlet side would be chamfered. So you're going to put the side that's not chamfered in here. And over and up to the next page. So, oh, and here we go. That explains it. So PTFE goes in, and then we're going to put the sleeve. It's bronze. Sleeve goes over it. So it's going to slide over the PTFE tube. And it should probably tell you this ahead of time that you want the conical end over here, which we figured that out. And then this is going to go through the coil, and the conical end is going to go into that drilled out counterboard section in that little nipple nozzle that we put in on the other side. Okay, so we just slide this in. This we try and put this at kind of an angle here. Actually, pull this out, and I'm going to stick this end into that tube, or attempt to. Would probably be easier without the gear drive on, but you know, we've already got that in place. Use some tweezers so that see what the heck I'm doing here. Once again, that conical end is going into the end of that nozzle. And then you'll have that brass or bronze tube, and then the other piece goes in this side. And when you knock it out again, then you get to try and get everything aligned up again. But you know, as soon as I got that there, it popped out again. Well, that's cool. I'm glad to see that this is not going to be fiddly at all whatsoever. And I think I'm going to make my life easier, or at least a little bit easier, and take this gear off right now. Get it out of the way, which will make it easier to get this on and in. Maybe, potentially. Dude, someone was like smoking crack on a length here or something. Like, did you have to trim your PTFE tube length? My dude Pete? Because with where these line up, like that PTFE tube would have to be all like this would have to be a PTFE lined hot end, which it ain't, or a heat break, which it is not. It did say that we're using the M6 brass one, which this is an M6 brass, right? Versus the like chrome stainless steel looking one over there. Ah, there we go. It does. It is a. That's what it is. I figured it out. Can we just say that I'm an idiot and leave it at that? I'm an idiot. Yes, I am an idiot. I am. Because yes, this is basically a PTFE lined heat break. If you get the PTFE in like alignment, it will actually go through this heat break. Get it in really? It's going to make me turn around and call me a liar. But yeah, Maka. How's it going, Maka? Hope you're doing well today. Crap. Where did I just knock that? There we go. So that'll go there. We'll bring this around. We'll have to make this go even more. Okay. There. We're good. It was almost painful. Okay, so we'll need to put our gear back on and we'll need to um, start building up our extruder. Going out and playing games. What game you playing? I need to start playing some games again. I haven't been playing games in a while. Build our spring lever arm. Make sure that your bearing still turns. Drop our sleeve in. Get our black M3 screw. Lined up and screw that in. And do spring. Oops. You guys watch me do that and let me do it. And this one in. That one in. This one in. Bring in. Bring out quickly. So I'm running into an issue there with spacing. I need this heat break tube to go in a little bit further. What was happening was the bearing on this side was actually hitting the end of the heat break, which would cause it to mar the edge of that, not not give a good spring tension on this side. Fix that. This in there. This in. Alrighty. So the second one's done. Got the spring in. Now we need to set in the display support. Yay. And for now, we're going to take and put this through, and it'll rest on there roughly like such. And once again, there is a pin right here, lines up with that square there, and we'll have a couple of places that we'll put screws in. So as before, we'll just make sure that open these up slightly. Just so we don't have to play as much with the tolerances on these. That keys in. We're going to use the B screws. We're going to use 4 the B screws. Um, use gravity. There. I think I'm actually going to have a blister on my hand from using this screwdriver. And I just dropped one of those screws down in there. Oh, there it is. That was glad that came out. One last one. Okay. And what's up next? EFT display cover. Okay. Filament joiner. That would go right there. Do our little drilly. Okay. EFT. EFT display. There's a little pin for it. And peel. Satisfying peel. Nice clean peel. Okay, our bigger connector goes on that side. Smaller connector here. SD card straight down from the bottom. And that is a full-size SD card. Hey, Westry, how's it going? You're going to go feed the horses? Okay. Give me a treat. We use 4 of the A's. Mount the screen. You got tons tonight? Okay, well, she didn't get any from her Uncle Luke, so Uncle Dragon, Uncle Luke, whatever you want to call me, that's all good. So she needs some from Uncle Dragon. Okay, so there's going to be our display. Our cable connects in on this side, so we get it in the right orientation to plug that in. Line that up, and I'm assuming we're going to use like some B's or C's or run the cable, some B's. Figures. I have print and place supports on the holes. I need to definitely drill these out. And folks, once we get this part done, as in the main machine done, we're going to call it because one, it's 10 o'clock. I need to finish packing. And like, seriously, my right hand is going to have a heck of a blister on it from doing this. I am going to go ahead and just go up to a 2.5 on these since these are basically. It was a little miffed, but she said she understands that I wasn't there. Yeah. Well, in my defense, you are streaming on an off night because you're normally a Wednesday night, right? Not a Thursday night. Hmm. Like, hey, I can use my drill. Yep, no. Yeah, that's going to blister out. That's going to make this weekend all kinds. And these should go down into the recesses, but I'm not going to fight that right now because my hand is already going to be messed up and I can't, I'm not going to fight with it right now. Um, yeah, going. Then we've got some upper cover clips. Upper cover clips. No say clippes. And it looks like we put a screw through the screw goes down through the middle of this and into the printed part end. No way that that's not going to hurt. Ah, okay. Hey, so through on there, through there. The only thing I will say is I think this would be so much better if they used um like standard M3 screws instead of Phillips head screws. Like if we were using socket head cap screws, this would go on so much easier. I kind of hate Phillips head screws anyhow for this specific reason, especially when you're dealing with smaller screw sizes. There, one there. Okay, and we're going to flip this over. We have a clip spot back here and one up front. So this would be the one up front. Did you see how we have kind of a cutout recess over here to go over this one? So, oh no, there's the direction arrow, so it goes on this way. Vents are got a cutout and a vent towards the front. So the cutout here goes for this piece. That's the clip actually engaging. There we go. Those are the clips that are engaging or not engaging. Here we go. Pins lined up, clips lined up. Awesome. So this is sitting up a little bit, so I'll have to double check that. The side's sitting down all nice. We still have this gap here. We'll have to figure out what the deal is there. But yeah, I'm not taking it apart to mess with it. Or at least not yet. We'll deal with that once we get back from Rocky Mountain. And I believe that is going to be it because the next thing going on here is for the winder. And I did that in a different filament. So that's going to be all of this stuff here. So this is basically going to make up the spool winder that'll sit over here on the side. So your filament will come through here, join, and you can run it right out onto the spool and wind up your spool. So when we get back from Rocky Mountain, we will play with the rest of this. And in fact, we're going to leave this right here. So parts, couple of screws, more screws over here in the E-bag. D&D have been used. That goes there. We've got the other motor, cable for said motor. Used for that. Let me put this back up. Half. Head. 2. 1.5. Phillips. And I know I continued using this even though I said it was hurting my hand because the only other alternative I had that would have a screw or a Phillips head that would fit would be to use my iFixit kit, which is going to be about the same as using, this thing here. So the issue is more the fact that the screw holes that are modeled into the parts, I think are just way, 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 way too tight. They need to be opened up. So let's this stuff away. Put that over there. Put this stuff away over here. And there we go. So we'll say that's part 1 of the Slunaz build. After we get back from Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Fest, we will complete building the rest of the unit, which will be the spool winder. And then we will, I don't know, actively give it a test run and see how we like it. So with that, let's see if there's anybody that we can raid out to. May still be going at 10:14. No, Jano's not on because he was traveling, if I remember right. Rilla's actually in front of the camp. Dark Fox, he looks like playing a game. The Jang is up doing some brick building of a Formula One car. Maple Mustafa is be right back. Well, people are just showing their print. Any suggestions, everybody? We haven't gone over to the Jang lately. We can give that a shot. Hey, Tweety Birdie, welcome on in. Welcome on in. So we are getting ready to, we're getting ready to raid out. We have been building our Slunaz FF1r, which is a filament joiner system. It's a all-in-one filament joiner system. And this is the main unit here, right? Filament will come in this way, go through one extruder, and we'll have a filament runout sensor on this side, and we'll have a filament runout sensor right here in the middle, and that will tell us when the filament has gone through this first side and is here ready to be joined. And then we'll put in the next part of filament that we want to join to. It'll know where it's at here. It'll move it over. It'll join them right here in a heated area. and then it'll bring it out the side. And we're going to build the winding system so that we can wind the filament up on spools. And you'll see we do have a little bit of gap here and stuff. We're having some fitment issues here and there. And I was afraid that it was because I printed my parts in ABS. This is Polymaker Galaxy dark gray ABS. And Reprinted, aka Pete Savas, was telling me that he had actually printed his in PLA and had similar fitment issues. So that'll be some feedback that we will give back to the creator, and maybe he can modify the files slightly to help out with that. But yeah, that's about it, folks. It's a little after 10. I think I am going to set a raid up for the Jang, who's doing some brick building. And I'm going to head out, finish packing like my backpack and um my actual carry-on, and get ready for a 5 a.m. wake-up call to get on a plane and head out to Rocky Mountain out in Denver, Colorado. So thanks everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get the raid started. Please come with me and show some love to the Jang. And we will see you guys. Did that not? Oh, it told me I wasn't able to raid him. Did he just end? What he said? Heart rate. Okay, it worked that time. So thanks a lot, everybody, for being here. There will be no stream Saturday because I will be at the show. I will see you guys Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever I get back. So Tuesday, Thursday stream when I get back. Thanks all, and have a great night. Bye now.